Tours, Russia. Once it was described as the hub of the earth by the Russian poet Vladimir Mayakovsky, and it's clear that the convex surface of one of my favorite squares in the world has something similar to the surface of our planet. Welcome to the fourth largest square in the world, Redsquare. Red and very beautiful. Since the ancient times, Redsquare was the place with the market, with plenty of wooden shops. And these wooden shops caused a lot of fires. So the first name of the square was the Pozhar, or it can be translated from Russian into English as Fire Square. Then in the 18th century, the government commissioned to put all of these buildings down, and people saw the square in its original appearance, like we can see it right now with no constructions. They loved it, and they call it with the Russian word Krasne. Every single Russian person knows that these words signifies two different things: the color, red, and the word beautiful. So originally it's beautiful, it's not red. The major buildings on the main square of Moscow reflect the different ages or stages of Russian history. Behind me, the symbol of ancient Russia, 16th century construction, St. Basil's Cathedral, old and very religious Russia. Then if you turn on the opposite side, you will find two other buildings, State Historical Museum, which reflects the 19th century and the years of prosperity of Russian Empire, as well as the, let's say, capitalistic side of Redsquare, represented with a 19th century building of GUM shopping mall. And opposite to the capitalistic side of the square, you will find the side which I like to call the very communistic, because there you will find the location of the pyramid construction, or this is the mausoleum, the tomb of father of revolution, Vladimir Lenin. Lenin died in 1924, and immediately his body was embalmed. Later, when the mausoleum was constructed in the 1930s, the body was put in a crystal sarcophagus inside the mausoleum. You can still see the body of Lenin every day except for Mondays and Fridays from 10 a.m. up to 1 p.m. And while you're visiting, it's also possible to see the burial places of famous Soviet and Russian people, which are in between of the mausoleum and the Kremlin wall. Within them, you can count two types of burials. One of them is regular, bodies are in the graves, in the ground, and within them there are very famous Soviet leaders such as Brezhnev, Andropov, Chernenko and Stalin. By the way, when Stalin died, for several years, his body was also inside the mausoleum. Then, from the order of Nikita Khrushchev, the body of Stalin was reburied next to the Kremlin wall, and you can see it these days too. The other type of burials are the ashes, which were immured in the wall. They are marked up with special plates with the names and the date of birth and date of death, as well as with a title or a position. So within them, you can find, for example, the first astronaut. Do you remember who was the first? You should remember, or if you don't remember, I'll mention Yuri Gagarin. And the walk-in tour to Mausoleum, you can also watch over here, tap the link. One of the symbols of Redsquare is, of course, the beautiful towers of the Kremlin. And one of them is quite significant. It's a Savior Tower. It's topped with the stars, as 5 of the other Kremlin towers, and the star is unusual. It's rotating and marking the direction of the wind. In total, the tower has several levels. A couple of them are with mechanisms of chains. Every 15 minutes it's possible to hear the bell marking the time, and on a special time, 12 o'clock, then 3 and 6 p.m., it's possible to hear the part of the Russian national anthem. Very close to St. Basil's you will find a construction, which is a round one, and it's known as Lobnoye Mesto. Completed in the 16th century, some historians say that it was used as a place of execution. Some other historians also say that this place could be used as a place of proclamation of different news of inner politics, outer politics, some news related to the royal family. For example, if the baby was born, people would come to the marketplace to hear this news from a special person from the palace. So the question stays open. In front of St. Basil's, it's possible to find the monument which is devoted to merchant Minin, standing like this, and Prince Pozharsky, sitting with a shield and a sword. These two persons are national heroes of Russia. In the age of 16th and 17th century, the first dynasty of Russian state was interrupted, and other states were interested in putting their own heirs on the throne of Russia. So the intervention started, and these two people managed to organize a volunteer army to kick the interventors out of the country, and even they helped to establish a new dynasty for Russian state, Romanov. The city center of Moscow, Redsquare, the Kremlin, and some sites on these places are enlisted in UNESCO heritage sites. And the most spectacular one is the wonderful example of the Russian architecture of the 16th century, St. Basil's Cathedral. It was commissioned by the Russian Tsar Ivan the Terrible, or Ivan IV, who wanted to commemorate the military campaign against Kazan. So when the military campaign started, it happened so that there were 9 major battles. And each battle happened in the day when the religious people of Russia were celebrating different festivals. So at the end, Ivan the Terrible decided to construct the church, or the cathedral, which would have 9 separate churches. If you look from above, you will find that in the plan it has 8 churches, or 8 corner churches surrounding the central pillar. Regularly, the people would go upstairs through the outside stairs to visit all of these 9 churches. 9 churches are linked to each other by special galleries, the outer ones and the inner ones around the central pillar. So it's a worth seeing place, and inside, on a regular basis, you can hear the local choir ETours. This is a male choir, and they're singing every almost 10 minutes inside because the acoustics in the church are perfect. From the chronicles, we know that 2 architects were involved in the construction of this beautiful church. Their names were Barma and Posnik. One of the most popular legends says that Ivan the Terrible, when the church was completed, invited them for a small talk, asking, could you repeat something like that anywhere else? Could you construct even more beautiful? Of course, they wanted to earn more money, and they said, for sure, no problem, with a great pleasure. Then Ivan the Terrible decided to blind them to escape the repeating of such a masterpiece somewhere else. But that's the legend, because another chronicle says, or mentioning the name of one of the architects who constructed St. Basil's Cathedral, related to the reconstruction of the Kazan fortress, which was captured by Ivan the Terrible. So it happened later. And you decide what's the truth. Zaryadye Park is a very significant landmark of Moscow these days. And look, it's located just in a few steps from Redsquare. So we are next to the entrance to Zaryadye Park. And if you want to know more about this, you can watch our walking tour in Zaryadye. Just tap the link here.